Hello there guys, Mark here. I hope you are well. Today's project is going to be a paracord camera strap. This is a project designed by Des Pawson and I modified it a little bit. The project is fairly easy to do, but it involves a couple of useful tricks which are definitely worth learning. So let's take a look at the strap, then make our own. Here we have an example of a camera strap that we're going to be making. Around the neck part, we have a flat weave. This is much more comfortable than the round braid used later on. Basically, it doesn't bite into your neck. Then, we have a couple of decorative knots which transition our flat weave into the round braid. On the other side, we have a couple of decorative knots which transition into the loop, and finally, we have a couple of key rings which attach onto our camera. So this is our project for today. Let's take a look at the supplies. As far as supplies go, the first thing that we're going to need is paracord. We're going to need 2 strands, each 11 feet long. Then we're going to need 2 strands 6.5 feet long each. You are going to need 2 key rings to attach your camera strap onto your camera. Finally, scissors and a lighter are going to be used to cut and melt our paracord. Let's begin tying. Let's first discuss how to set up our project. The interesting thing about this project is that we start at the middle. Then we work towards the sides. So we're going to start in the middle of our square knots. To do this, take your 2 short pieces of paracord, each 6.5 feet long. Add the 2 long pieces, each 11 feet long, to the sides. At the middle point, join together the 4 strands using a piece of thread. In my case, I'm going to tie a simple reef knot. Like this. We can now begin tying. We are now going to begin our square knots. The 2 outer cords are going to be the working ends. The 2 middle ones are going to be the core. Take the left end, pass under the 2 middle strands and over the right one. Take the right end, pass over the top into the loop on the left. Like this. Tighten up. Take the right end, pass under 2, under the middle ones, and over the left end. Take the left end over the top into the loop on the right. Tighten up. Take the left end again, pass under the two middle strands and over the right one. Take the right strand, pass over the top into the loop on the left. And tighten up. Take the right strand, pass under the two middle strands and over the left strand. The left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right. And tighten up. And simply continue the same way. So left strand, under two, and over the right strand. Right strand, over the top into the loop on the left. Tighten up, then take the right strand, pass under two, and over the left strand. The left strand passes over the top into the loop on the right. And tighten up. We are going to line up about half a foot of square knots. At that point, your four ends should be about equal in length. So the two long ones are going to reduce in length to the same length as the two middle ones. After creating about half a foot of square knots, my four ends are going to be of equal length. Now I'm going to turn around my knots to get to the side where I haven't worked with my strands so far. I'm going to remove my thread and I'm going to begin lining up square knots on this side as well. So to do this, I'm going to start on the right side, passing under two, over one. Then the left end passes over the top into the loop on the right. Tighten up. Take the left end, under two, over one. Take the right end, over the top into the loop on the left. Tighten up. And again the right end under 2 and over the left end. Left end over the top into the loop on the right. Left end under 2 over 1. Right end over the top into the loop on the left. We are going to continue our square knots until we get another half a foot of our square knots. At that point, our 4 ends are going to be of the same length. I now have about a foot of square knots. So from the middle, I have half a foot to one side and half a foot to the other side. I'm going to finish up on the ends using a crown knot. I'm going to use the crown knot to make things easier to see later on. So like this, I have spread apart my strands. I'm going to take one and pass it counterclockwise over the next strand. The next strand passes counterclockwise over the next strand. The next strand passes counterclockwise over the last strand. The last of our strands passes into the loop created by the first strand. This ties a crown knot. Tighten it up by pulling on all of the ends. Once tightened up, it should have a fairly square shape. We're going to continue our project by placing a diamond knot at the end of our square knots. This enables us to transition into the round braid. The diamond knot is fairly simple to tie. Spread apart your strands and begin tying. We're going to travel counterclockwise over one, under one. So over, under, and grab the cord and hold it up, just so that you know that you have already used it. Take the next strand and repeat. over, under, and hold your second cord. Take the third strand, pass over, and under into our first loop. Like this. The last of our strands passes over our first loop and into the second one. So over under. And this is the diamond knot. Like this. We're going to double it up to make it look a bit nicer. Take a strand and follow the next end on the inner side. So pass over it and then follow it, traveling alongside it. Like this. Coming up at the center here, effectively doubling up a strand. Pick up the next strand and repeat. Pass over the next end and double it up on the inner side. So to do this, we're going to travel under these two strands, like this, and keep doubling up on the inner side. Again, ending up at the center of the knot, doubling up a strand. Pick up the next end, and again, double up the next end. Pass over it to the inner side, and double it up, traveling under two, like this, and at the top, under these two cords, coming up at the center of the knot. Our final strand is going to be one of these two. Since we doubled up this strand on the inner side, this outer strand is the one that we're going to use. So again, double up the next end, passing over it to the inner side, then doubling it up. So I travel under two, like this, and under two again at the center of the knot. So like this. So basically I tied a diamond knot and doubled it up on the inner side. By doubling it up on the inner side, my cords come up through the center of the knot, which is preferable than if you doubled it up on the outer side. For now, simply continue by tightening up the 4 strands. So to do this, pull on one of the strands coming out of the crown knot and work out the slack through the knot and into one of the ends. Then simply repeat with the next strand. So pull on a strand coming out of a crown knot and work out the slack into one of the ends. So when you have tightened up your diamond knot, you should have a nice transition into the round braid. Repeat this knot on the other side as well. We are now going to begin the round braid. This is a simple technique. First off, our initial setup. Spread apart your strands, two to each side. Take the top right strand and pass over under through the two strands on the left. Take the other strand on the right side, pass under over through the two strands on the left. Tighten up a bit. And this is our initial setup. To begin braiding, take the top right strand, pass behind, in between the two strands on the left, and back to the bottom on the right. Now, pick up the top left strand, pass behind, in between the two strands on the right, and back to the bottom on the left. Then again, top right strand passes behind, in between the two strands on the left, and back to the bottom on the right. Then again, top left strand, behind, in between the two strands on the right, and back to the bottom on the left. Make sure that you braid your round braid tightly. Simply continue. Top right strand, behind, in between the two strands on the left, and back to the bottom on the right. Then the top left strand, behind, in between the two strands on the right, and back to the bottom on the left. We are going to braid about 10 inches on each of the sides. So 10 inches on this side and 10 inches on the other. If you at any point lose track, you should continue with the strand that is furthest back in the braid. So in this case, it is this one. In this case, it is this one. After braiding about 10 inches of our round braid, we're going to lock it off using a crown knot. So spread apart your strands. Pick one up and pass it counterclockwise over the next strand. The next strand passes counterclockwise over the next one. The next strand again passes counterclockwise over the next strand. The final strand passes into the loop created by the first strand. Then tighten up. So like this, the crown knot is of a square shape. We are going to finish up the two ends of our strap using a loop and a Manrope knot. Pick up one of the ends, spread apart the strands. Then tie a wall knot. You take a strand, pass counterclockwise under the next strand. Take the next strand, pass counterclockwise under the next strand. Take the next strand, pass counterclockwise under the next and last strand. The last of our strands passes under and through our first loop. So this is the wall knot. Like this. Pick up a strand, pass over two ends, so over these two, then under them and back where you came from. This creates our loop, which we're going to use later on. For now, continue by tying a crown knot. Take a strand, pass counterclockwise over the next strand. The next strand passes counterclockwise over the next one. And the next one counterclockwise over our last strand. The last strand travels into the loop created by our first strand. Now slightly tighten up. Make sure that the loop stays outside. So, in the center of the crown knot. Like this. So we have a crown knot around our loop. Now we're going to double up our knot. Pick up a strand and double up the end, this end coming out from the end of the braid out of the crown knot. So this strand is going to double up this one on the outside. like this, and at the top of the crown knot, double up as well like this, effectively doubling up a strand. Pick up the next end and again double up this strand, coming out of the crown knot at the center. Double it up on the outside like this, and at the top as well, doubling up a strand in the crown knot. Take the next strand and again double up this strand. Like this. And now our final strand is one of these two. Since we doubled up on the outside, it's going to be the inner one. Again, double up a strand, the last remaining single one, on the outside, like this, and at the top, in the crown knot, like this. So at this point, we have a double top knot. Take the ends and simply feed them down under these two strands to the bottom of the knot. And with this we have tied our manrope knot. Now all we need to do is tighten it up. Make sure that you do not pull this loop out of the knot. Again, tightening this knot starts at a strand coming out of the crown knot at the end of the braid. Pull on that strand and bring the slack through the knot and out into one of the ends. Then you simply take the next strand, you work out the slack through the knot and into one of the ends. And we're going to keep doing this until we have tightened up our knot. After tying the loops and manrope knots, I'm going to cut the ends as close to the manrope knot as possible. I'm then going to melt the ends a little bit. And finally, we're going to attach a couple of key rings. And with this, our project is complete. So guys, that's it for today's tutorial. A practical, nice looking project in the Paracord camera strap. I hope that I presented all of the techniques used in a clear way. If you have any questions, please do post them down below. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time as well.